We have 3.7, position of fixed. And let's just read this. The fixed position freezes the element position in a specific part of the viewport instead of the body, like other positions do. Fixed position is ideal for modal windows, pop-ups, little chat dialogues, or top bar menus. Use fixed position to place my modal on the center of the screen as the modal window. The result should look like this. And as I posted earlier on the class site, I already did this for you guys. So let's go over this. This div right here is this modal right here. This do you see how I'm scrolling the page? But no matter what, this little window stays centered on the page. Okay, and this paragraph is the first paragraph, then the second paragraph, a bunch of paragraphs. And if you're wondering what this is just filler text. It's Latin, something that they used to use for printing presses a long time ago. Anyway, they used it a lot in web design. So let's look at this. Dot modal means class that is modal. Anything that has a class of modal is this div right here. It has a class of modal. My modal happens to be the ID of the div. So the class modal and my modal in this case only refers to one thing. This class close modal refers to this X right here. When I push this X, basically, it just goes to the top of the page because the H reference is a hashtag, as you can see. Now let's look through these backgrounds. So if I change this to, let's just change it to FF. It's all white, right? 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Not sure what I did there. Let's just change it back to gray. Now, when I look at this, the width is 400 pixels across. The height is 50. The border radius is 5 pixel. That means this edge is. So let's just get rid of this to see what happens when I get rid of that. See how they're sharp edges? So now if I add border radius is 5 pixels, or let's say 50 pixels, right? That's how we make our edges more circular. Control Z, 5 pixels, and a Z index of 10. What is Z index? For those of you who are in SciTech and use Inventor, you know about the 3 axes, the X, Y, and if you know about the Z, that's basically depth. So if I put it at 10, it's above the page. And if I put it at, let's say I put it at minus 10, the default is like 0. So if I put it at minus, it's now behind the text. If I put it in at 0, let's see what happens. I'm not even sure what happens when I put it at 0. Well, it's above the background text. So it's placing layers on top of each other. Okay, close modal. Now it doesn't even talk about position. The position right here is fixed. And it's 50 pixels from the top and 20% to the left. I can say something like 500 pixels from the top. And because it's fixed, I'm not going to see it. Let's scroll up. There it is. All the way down there. Okay, so this will position it how high from the top I want it. If I put it 10 pixels, you'll see it's very close to the top. That's why we put it at 50. And from the left, it's about 20%. I could put it at 10%. I could put it at 1%. But anyway, it was 20%. Let's say 90%. What would it do? It's all the way there. It starts at 90% of the page. That's where it begins. So let's go back to 20%. Run that code. What happens if I do it relative? Well, you know what? We'll look at this position of the modal is relative. So let's see how that works. This is referring to this x right here. Okay, this closed modal. And as you can see, it floats to the right. Now, we all know that if I float it to the right, it's gonna be attached to the left side of the page. If I float it to the left, if I float it to the right, it'll float to the right side of the page. This position of it being relative, if I say it's fixed, where's this x now? Well, it's minus 20. It's somewhere on, it's in this direction of the page. It's on the top right corner. It's basically off the page, right? If I put it positive 20 and positive 20, we're going to notice this x right here because it's floating from the left. Okay. What does relative then mean? From the top 20, let's go minus 20 and minus 20. It means relative to the container. Okay, so it's relative to, let's just show 0 and 0. It's right there. Okay, that's where the position is relative from this position right here when it's slapped to the right of its container. If I go left, whoops, run, you'll see that the x is right there. It starts at there. And if I say minus 20, it's minus 20 of that position. Minus 20. So it's going to be minus 20, minus 20. Oh, sorry, I said right. That's why. I should say from the left, minus 20. There we go. Okay, and that's how we modify where this x goes. And relative just means relative to where its position is on the page automatically. Okay, and that's basically how this one works. So to change it back, we just float it to the right. And so it's basically where it would appear. Oh, because we did it from the left, we're supposed to say right. That's why it looks off. Run. And there we go. There we have our code. Okay, so now we kind of understand relative and fixed. Relatives means you can move it relative to where it belongs on the page. Fixed means it's fixed to the page, fixed to the position of the page. That's it. Submit.